Hello students, I am Gunjan Malik Minocha, Assistant Professor in Institute of Hotel and Tourism Management, MDU Rohtak. Welcome to EPG Pathshala. We are studying the paper Managing Culture and Diversity, and today we will study the module Cultural Conflict Resolution. And the outcomes will be, by the end of this module, the students will be able to understand the concept and the characteristics of organizational culture. You will be able to understand the forms of diversity and how to manage it. And you will also be able to comprehend the sources of conflict and techniques for the resolution of the same. Let's have a brief introduction. Organizational culture is an important determinant of any organization. In today's hyper-turbulent environment, culture is the only key to success for the organization as it lands the business in a true competitive advantage. There is a strong need to have appropriate organizational culture in order to survive, grow and excel in this globalized world. Organizational culture is defined as a system of shared values and beliefs that interact with an organization's people, structure and systems. Every organization evolves and maintains a unique culture which has a strong influence on the organization and its people. Culture is nothing but a reflection of beliefs, assumptions and the values of the founders of an organization. It gives an understanding of norms, how to behave, values and beliefs, and it also serves as a learning rope for the new entrants. The culture impacts organizational performance from financial as well as the non-financial perspective. Organizations with strong cultures, they have consistent cash flow, they have reliable financial performance. Thus, it also attracts more investors and the stakeholders. The culture can influence some of the important performance variables in the organization like job commitment, employee satisfaction, morale, psychological contract, and even the organization's citizenship behavior. Definitions of organizational culture. Let's have a brief view about the definitions of organizational culture. According to Green, Hofstede, 1984, the collective programming of human mind that distinguishes the members of one human group from those of another. One another definition given by Edgar Schein in 1985 was, it is a pattern of shared basic assumptions that a group learns as it solves its problems of external adaptation and internal integration that has worked well enough to be considered valid and therefore to be taught to the new members as the correct way to perceive, think and feel in relation to those problems. Then according to Andrew Brown in 1995, organizational culture refers to the pattern of beliefs, values and learned ways of coping with experience that have developed during the course of an organization's history and which tend to be manifested in its material arrangements and in the behavior of its members. One more definition by Patricia Marshall in 2002 was that organizational culture is considered as consistent ways in which people experience, interpret and respond to the world around. Organizational culture. Now Bruce Tharp concluded in his research article that for some, culture is considered the glue that holds an organization together, and for others it is considered as a compass that provides direction. So from all the definition, it can be summarized that organizational culture is comprehended differently by different organizations. Culture of one organization may significantly differ from the other organization even in a similar business. For example, though Google and Yahoo both are search engines and they provide similar service to the internet users, but there is a vast difference in their culture. So organization culture is many times explained through onion model. It denotes that act of comprehending culture is very much similar to the act of peeling of onion, wherein various components of culture, they come in layers as symbols, as heroes, as rituals, as values. Moreover, it denotes that while you keep peeling the layers, you find nothing tangible at the end. Thus, organizational culture is composed of intangible components like values, attitudes, shared meanings and rituals, which has been explained in this slide in the form of an onion diagram of culture. So we have values here, then we have rituals, then we have heroes, and then we have the symbols. Now, workplace diversity. Workplace diversity refers to the variety of differences among the people in the organization. Does an Asian manager adopt the same approach in problem solving like an African manager or an American manager? I know the answer is perhaps no. The reason why problem solving or decision making of Asian and African manager is different can be explained just in one word, that is cultural diversity. Workplace diversity may sound very simple, but it ranges from difference in race, gender, ethnic group, age, personality, tenure, and culture as well. For this chapter, we will focus on diversity, which is based on culture, which is commonly known as cultural diversity. Workplace diversity based on differences in culture is referred to as cultural diversity. Now, let's have a view on certain definitions of workplace diversity. Workforce diversity refers to the variety of experiences and perspective which arise from difference in race, culture, religion, mental or physical abilities, ancestry, age, gender, marital status, and other characteristics. This definition has been given by the Chancellor's Committee of Diversity from University of California. Then Thomas in 1992 stated that what is workforce diversity is all about the differences as well as about the similarities among the workforce. Then in Dessler in 2011 stated that workforce diversity is the variety of demographic characteristics that constitute a company's workforce, particularly in the terms of age, gender, color, origin, race, culture, and disability. Cox in 1993 stated that cultural diversity has been defined as the representation in one social system of people with distinctly different group affiliations of cultural significance. Cultural diversity is a form of appreciating the differences which are there in the individuals. The differences can be based on gender, age, sex, ethnicity, sexual orientation, and the social status. Now, what is conflict? Conflict is defined as a process that begins when one party perceives that another party has negatively affected or is about to negatively affect something that the first party cares about. This definition has been given by Robbins, Timothy, and Niharika in 2013. Well, in a simple language, it can be understood as incompatibility of goals, difference of opinion, or we can say disagreement between any two parties. It can be between the employee and the employer, it can be between employees, or it can even be between the employers. There are various views of conflict and it has changed over a period of time. Traditional view of conflict believes that all kind of conflicts are destructive and it should be avoided. Resolution focused view of conflict says that conflict is a natural and it is an inevitable outcome in any group. Whereas interactionist view of conflict established that it is absolutely necessary for a group to perform effectively. Now, two definitions of conflict. One is by Rahim in 2000, which says conflict is a natural outcome of human interpretation which begins when individual perceives that his or her goals or the attitudes or the values or the beliefs, they are incongruent with those of another individual. Then Diaz et al. In 2006, they stated that conflict is a struggle, or we can say it is a contest between people with opposing needs, opposing ideas and beliefs, or the values or the goals. They defined in broadest terms and stated that conflict denotes the incompatibility of the subject positions. Now we have three views of conflict. The first is a traditional view, which says that conflict is harmful and it should be avoided. The second is resolution focused view, which says that conflict is natural and it is inevitable, you cannot avoid it. And interactionist view says that conflict is necessary in the group, it is mandate, it should be there if you want to perform effectively. Now, moderate level of conflict is always desirable as it reduces the phenomena of groupthink and it also encourages innovation and creativity. Now, we have three types of conflicts. We'll discuss. The first is relationship conflict, second is the task conflict, third is the process conflict. Relationship conflict is a conflict which is based on interpersonal or any level which is not good for the organization. Task conflict, it varies from low to moderate level of task conflict. The task conflict is basically a conflict over the content, or we can say the goals, which is related to your task. It is desirable, it is good, it should be there if you want to work effectively. Process conflict, on the other hand, it says that low level of process conflict, conflict over how work has to be done. It is functional and it is effective in the organizations. Now, characteristics of organizational culture. Culture is considered as DNA and therefore every organization has a unique culture. Organization engaged in a similar business also vary in the culture. Like culture of McDonald's differs significantly from the culture of Burger King or from the culture of Subway. The culture of Microsoft is significantly different from the culture of Infosys, Oracle, though all of them belong to the same category, that is information technology companies. So, organizational culture is identified by its unique characteristics. Various authors have suggested different characteristics and the list may be very long. Now, this diagram depicts certain characteristics of organizational culture and now we will discuss all these characteristics in detail. The first characteristic is innovation and risk taking. Now, it describes the degree to which employees are encouraged to take risk and to be creative and innovative. Employees will be motivated to take considerable risk and rewarded for the same. Innovation and creativity will be valued over traditional thinking. Here, the employees will be flexible if they have this culture, adaptive, and they will be open to new experience. Google, it allows their employees to devote 20% of the time to work on the projects of their own choice and encourage the culture of risk taking and innovation. Now, the second characteristic is attention to detail. This characteristic denotes the degree to which people are expected to exhibit precision, analysis, and attention to detail. McDonald's Corporation is an organization wherein employees are given detailed instruction on how to perform any kind of a job. Employees are given training by showing photos of how exactly French fries or the burger should look when they are prepared properly. There is a timer set which will buzz when the French fries are done. So, employees are oriented to pay attention to the details of everything. This kind of organization will be more effective in impressing the customers and ensuring repeated visits by the customers. The third characteristics of organizational culture is outcome orientation. Now, this characteristic describes the degree to which outcome or the results are more important than the processes. Managers focus on the outcome rather than how they are being achieved. Achievements, results and actions, they are considered as important values. Best Buy Company Incorporation has introduced a new program ROWE, which is Result Oriented Work Environment, which ensures that performance and achievements, they are the key indicators and determinants of the reward. Another characteristic is people orientation. Now, it considers the degree to which top management decisions take into account the effect on people in the organization. HP Incorporation introduced a policy called EFSC, which is very good, employee first and customer second, indicating that employees are the important asset. Organization having people oriented culture, they treat employees with respect and dignity. Next characteristics is team orientation. Now, this refers to the degree to which work or the tasks are organized around teams rather than working individually. Teamwork is considered more important than the individual work. Performance assessment and rewards will be based on teamwork. Like Southwest Airlines Company is known for the team-oriented culture as it provides cross-training to the employees so that they are capable of helping each other when it is required. The company also places emphasis on training intact work teams. Employees participate in twice daily meetings named Morning Overview Meetings, MOM, that is mom, and Daily Afternoon Discussions, that is DAD, DAD, where they collaborate to understand sources of the problem and they also determine the future courses of action. In Southwest selection system, the applicants who are not viewed as team players, they are not hired as employees. Now another characteristic, as the picture is displaying, aggressiveness. It describes the degree to which employees in the organization are competitive and aggressive than being cooperative. Employees are oriented towards competition and aggressiveness. Microsoft is known for having aggressive organizational culture. Its employees are famous for competitive approach, and the company has come across a number of disputes with competitors for many years. Next characteristics, stability. Now this describes the degree to which organizational decisions emphasizing maintaining the status quo rather than being dynamic. Such organization may resist change because they want to maintain the status quo and they try to maintain the equilibrium until and unless there is an external threat. Like Kraft Foods, it is an organization which is characterized by central decision making, rule oriented and bureaucracy. Strong versus weak culture. When shared values in the organization are widely held by most of the employees, we call it strong culture. Strong culture works like a strong wind which guides all the members of the organization towards a similar path to achieve one common goal of the organization. It can be better explained with the example of Kelly's Ketchup. Now the president of Kelly's Ketchup believes that it is very important that every bottle of ketchup that leaves the plant is made exactly the same way. Every employee who works in this organization should realize this importance of producing consistently high quality product. Attention to the detail has emerged as one of the core values in Kelly's Ketchup, and each employee is committed to this value. Thus, it establishes an example of strong culture. Organizations with strong culture provides clear guidelines to existing as well as the new employees for behavioral and performance norms. Organizations having stronger culture, they are benefited as they do not require detailed policies on how things are to be done. Strong culture is determined by the size, the age, the employee turnover rate, the history and the stories of the founder members in the organization. Well, on the other hand, the organizations wherein the values are loosely held and not shared by only few members, usually the top management, it is considered as a weak culture. Now, the organization possessing weak culture, they are unable to establish guidelines for their employees on how to achieve the common organizational goals. Organizations having a weaker culture, they have a greater need for policies and the rules and the procedure. This can be better explained with the example of Murray's mustard. Now, the president of Murray's mustard also believes in the importance of consistently high quality product. But unlike the Kelly's Ketchup, which we discussed later, it is unable to establish the similar values among the employees of the organization. Except for few vice presidents or few employees do not have the idea about creating consistent high quality product. So this weak culture organization, they rely more on the formal written policies, the formal documents, making organization more bureaucratic. Now let's see what is the difference between strong culture and weak culture. Now the table is clearly displaying. In strong culture, the most employees share similar views about the organization mission, vision, values and norms. And the weak culture, here the employees may possess different viewpoints for the vision, mission, values and norms. The second point says that in strong culture, the core values of the organizations are very strongly held and widely shared. Whereas in weak culture, the organizational values are loosely held and they are shared by only few employees. In strong culture, the employees, all the employees, they have clarity about the priority of the values. Whereas in weak culture, the employees don't have clarity about important values in the organization. In strong culture, employees can strongly identify. They can identify themselves with the culture of organization. Whereas in weak culture, the employees can hardly identify themselves with the culture of the organization. Strong culture has great impact on employee behavior, whereas weak culture, the organizational culture and the employee behavior, it may be inconsistent. So there is no impact. Now, benefits of diversity. Well, it has been rightly said that diversity is the one true thing that we have in common, celebrated every day. Diversity in corporation. Top 50 started a survey and published diversity list in 2001. More than 1800 companies participated in this survey, signifying the importance of cultural diversity for success. Ernst & Young is at the top of the list. PwC is number 4. Johnson & Johnson is number 5 on diversity in corporation top 50 list. It has 58% of its operations outside the United States. Managing diversity. It is expected that in coming years, diversity will be increased, necessitating organizations to become more adaptable and flexible. Well, according to S. Robbins, effective diversity management increases an organization's access to widest pool of skills, abilities and ideas. Organizations must focus on attracting, selecting, retaining diverse workforce. Infosys serves as a classic example for effective diversity management. Well, Infosys was the first Indian company in IT sector to create an office for diversity. The diverse workforce at Infosys comprises employees from 89 nationalities belonging to 32 different countries. The team at Infosys believes that pool of diverse employees will accelerate their business growth and give them a winning edge over their competitors. There is a diversity dashboard that keeps track of how employees are doing on diversity. Keeping in mind this thing, the managers must consciously create a culture of self-awareness amongst all the employees to manage this diversity. Cultural diversity also brings along challenges to the entire organization, even to the managers and its people. It's very crucial to create a culture wherein all the employees feel empowered and motivated to work as a team. Verbal as well as non-verbal communication. This is another challenge in diverse workforce. Interpretation of language and symbols, it may be different across cultures. Stereotyping is another problem of diversity. Thus, the managers need to be a little more conscious while dealing with diverse workforce. Now we'll discuss certain guidelines how to actually manage this diversity. The number one is test assumptions before acting on them. Number 2 is insist on diversity while forming committees and ensure to have diverse pool of candidates. Third, existing employees are willing to accept people. They should always have a willingness to accept people from different cultures. Employees learn and they also share different cultural values. Employees from different cultural backgrounds are treated with equal respect and dignity. Employees are provided sufficient training for cultural diversity. Now we'll discuss certain sources of conflict. The first source is poor communication, which is the major source of conflict. Conflict may emerge out of semantic difficulties, misunderstanding, or any kind of a noise, or the language acting as a barrier, or non-verbal communication. Then the second source can also be lack of resources. As we can see in the diagram, no resources. There may be conflicts in the organization due to scarcity of resources. Then the third source can be personal variables. Potential sources of conflict can be personality, emotions, attitude, or the values. Now, if there are problems, then there are solutions. So let's discuss the resolution techniques. The following figure explains 5 methods of conflict resolution. While adapting any conflict resolution technique, there are 2 dimensions which are emphasized: cooperativeness and assertiveness. Cooperativeness says the degree to which one focuses on the needs and concerns of the other party, whereas assertiveness states the degree to which one party focuses on satisfying his or her needs and concerns. So let's now discuss the resolution techniques. The first technique is avoiding. We can see in the picture, the focus is on avoiding the conflict. We generally tend to ignore it rather than resolve it, like remaining absent from the work. This is what? This is avoidance. Second is competing. We can see in the picture, the focus is on satisfying own needs and ignoring the needs of other party. In this technique, the winner is absolutely clear. For example, the cricket match or the table tennis game, here the players are competing and the winner emerges out very clearly. The third resolution technique is compromising. Now, it is a technique wherein both the parties, they try to resolve conflict by adjusting on few things. You need to compromise, They reach to acceptable solution, if not completely agreeable. And another technique for resolving the conflicts is accommodating. It focuses on satisfying the needs of other parties by sacrificing. For examples, parents may sacrifice their own needs to fulfill the demands of their children. So this is also one of the techniques to resolve the conflict. And the last technique is collaborating. We can clearly see it in the picture that both the parties involved in the conflict, they jointly resolve the conflict with best solution agreed upon. It is a win-win situation for both the parties, the employers as well as the employees. They may confront and they will discuss to work out on the differences. Summary. Organizational culture is a system of shared norms, values and beliefs which directs how people behave in the organizations. Culture of any organization can be characterized based on the values that frequently shared and held by the majority of people in the organization. Organizational culture can be explained through total 7 dimensions, such as number 1 is innovation, attention to detail, outcome orientation, people orientation, team orientation, aggressiveness, and the last is stability. Those organizations which hold all these 7 values very intensely, they are known to have a strong culture. Well, on the other hand, if the employees are sharing their values very loosely, it is known as weak culture. Culture is also one of the important factors which contributes to diversity at the workplace. Now, workplace diversity. What is workplace diversity? It can emerge out of differences in the age, gender, ethnicity, religion, abilities, education, as well as the culture. When the diversity in the workforce is based on the culture, it is known as cultural diversity. Now, cultural diversity. Cultural diversity can serve as a success mantra if the organizations can manage that diversity in an effective manner. Managers must train the employees to increase the level of understanding about other cultures and then try to develop a meaningful relationship. Now, diversity in the culture of the workplace has its own benefits as well as the problems or the challenges which should be taken care of. Cultural diversity offers various benefits like talented workforce, you have knowledge of different markets, there is more innovation, there is more creativity, and there will be variation in the products. But it also bears certain challenges like there will be barriers in communication, stereotyping, and integration of diverse viewpoints. Thank you.